Dumelang, and welcome to Mommy Diaries. This show is about parenting, motherhood, and this amazing journey of raising our kids. On today's show, I have Sharon. She owns my swim school. Sharon, how are you?
Hi, Pasty. Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you.
And great to see you. And thank you so much for having me on your show. I really do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. So every time I have guests, I always ask them how they're doing. Like today, how are you doing? Are you happy?
Yes.
Are you in a good space? How's life?
So today's a good day. So I always think that if you wake up grateful, it's always a good day to have a good day. Yeah. So that's kind of how I try to live my life. So I always try to have a good day rather than a bad day. Yes.
And who's Sharon? Have you always wanted to have your own swim school?
So Passy, you want... It's like such a funny story, you know. I was working in corporate. I was with the breweries. And I worked with a lady who had something to do with a swim school. She told me that they were looking for instructors. And when I was at school, I loved swimming. So I said, well, you know what? I really wouldn't mind trying it out. So I decided to try it out for a Saturday morning. I needed to earn some extra money. My son was in matric, and matric is an expensive year. Yeah. And I'm a single mom. So everything was on me. And actually, I found a passion that I didn't even know I had. Yeah. I just loved working with the children. I loved teaching. And for me, the biggest thing was actually seeing the children progress and their confidence and how they grew within themselves in the water. So I just absolutely loved that. And I started part-time. I was actually only going to do it for a term. And here I am today.
Owning a whole school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So funny story though, I've only been with that swim school. I've never been with another swim school. I started working there and ended up managing it. And when the opportunity came along, I decided to buy it, and I just love it. It's my passion. I just absolutely love what I do.
Yeah. Now let's dive into it.
Yes, that's part of the fun.
Let's dive into it. Swimming. I grew up in Bloemfontein.
Yes.
There were no swimming pools.
Yes.
I used to see just white people on TV swimming.
Yes.
It was too far from me up until obviously now I'm a mother, and that's how we met. Nema comes to your school.
That's correct.
When is the right age for kids to start learning how to swim?
So you know what? If you think of it, when you're carrying your baby, they're in your tummy, they're in water. So from the time that they are born, you can get them used to water. So you don't have to take them to a swimming school. You can do little things in the bath to make them, because a lot of children don't seem to like water on their faces. So you can just take some water and pour it over their faces just to get them used to that. As they get older, you can turn them on their tummies and teach them to blow bubbles in the water and so on, you know. But at the school, we start when they're 6 months old, from 6 months. Wow. And that's just, you know, that's when they're sort of aware and they've had all the inoculations and everything. So, and that's when we start teaching. Yeah. So we've taught right up to 72 years old. I taught a 72-year-old lady to swim.
Wow. Beginning, she was starting to learn how to swim.
So let me tell you something. She couldn't even shower because she didn't like water on her face. And by 6 weeks, I had her diving into the swimming pool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what are some of the misconceptions as parents that we have about starting our kids to start learning how to swim?
So I think that a lot of people think, oh, they don't like water, or we'll start them later, or they find other things that they feel are more important. For me, swimming is probably one of the most important life skills that a child can learn. The healthy respect for the water and also safety around water. That for me is key as far as water goes, is water safety. You know, they don't have to go to a swim school, but the language that you use when you speak to them, instead of saying, don't go to the pool, you're going to drown, you should say, if you go close to the pool and you fall in, what should you do? You know, those kind of things, because you instill a fear in them if you say you're going to drown. So we have a lot of children that would come and say, I'm going to drown, and it's not like that. I think it's just parents have a fear of water because they didn't learn to swim. So that what they do is they project that fear onto their children. Yeah. So I think the important part is to teach them that healthy respect for water, and also key is safety.
Yeah. And then safety around water. What are some of the things besides what you mentioned that we need to start communicating with our kids? Because a lot of us would start by buying a house with a swimming pool, but none of the people in the house can
actually swim.
You know, so and you're absolutely right. I think I'm guilty as charged where every time I would say, don't go closer, you will drown. And that's what I say, because that's what I'm scared of water and I'm scared of drowning.
Exactly.
And I'm projecting. I didn't realize that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
So what are some of the things besides that we need to start communicating with our kids so that they understand that they don't have to be afraid of water?
So I think as I said, you need to give them a healthy respect for that. So, obviously a very common thing would be to have a fence around the pool. Okay. But if they were to go in to the pool area, the most important thing is supervision, but not just supervision, but active supervision. Drowning is actually not a loud thing. It's very silent. It's in the movies, you see people flailing around and shouting and that, but actually drowning is not like that in real life. It's a very silent thing. So you need to have your eyes on your child at all times. You have to be actively engaged in what your child is doing, and let that child be on the step. And you know what? If you yourself are afraid, just sit on the step with your feet in the water. And if you don't have that fear and you're just sitting there, that child, you're not projecting that fear onto your child. And the child can play on the step, because most home pools do have a step that you could play on, and let them get confident on the step first before they try and go into the water. For me, I would also always have some sort of flotation, especially if nobody in the house can swim.
Right.
So I wouldn't really work with a tube, those tubes that work around the body, because what can happen is the children overcompensate, they go over and then they can't get back. They can't lift their heads out the water because now that tube is keeping them down. So the old-fashioned water wings that they've been around for donkey's years. Those are the best kind of water safety, because the tighter you blow them up, the more you'll bob in the water. So the children, if they jump into the water or if they fall into the water, it will automatically bring them up. So if you as a parent can't swim and you're sitting at the step watching your child swim, make sure that they have water wings on, so that if they go into the deep end, they can, or off the step by mistake, that they can come back and they're not going to go underneath because you'll panic then because you can't swim. Yeah. The most important thing as well is, if you're not a swimmer, is to try and jump in after somebody that's fallen in. The best is to actually, if you have a pool, you always have some sort of equipment, like a noodle or something, is to throw something to them to grab, because people that are drowning panic. So if you get into the water, they'll pull you down as well. So the best thing is to throw something to them that they can hold onto, and you can actually pull them to the side. And
it does happen, not a lot, but it happens where it just happens quickly, and then you hear stories like a child drowned in a swimming pool, and sometimes people think as a parent you're being irresponsible. Like, what advice would you give for people like me who have a swimming pool in the house, just for those, like you mentioned, the fence and just looking
and the flotation device? I think another very important factor would be to teach your child that they always have to ask permission to go into that area. That is very important, because if they're asking permission, you know where they're going. If they're not asking permission, they can just, slip in there without you knowing, So, and as I said, the water wings, that's also and obviously there's nets that you can put over the pool, So, although it's just the PVC cover, complete cover, which covers the pool, which would require an adult to take that off, then which would require somebody to be there actively looking and watching the children, swimming. Yeah.
And swimming is a life skill.
Absolutely.
Why is it a life skill? Because to me, it was not, like I said.
Yeah.
Why do we call it that now, that swimming is actually a life skill?
Because I think, drowning makes up a lot of deaths in our country. Children play at rivers, they play at dams. You can actually drown in a bucket of water, So I think if you know what to do and how to do it and what to look out for, we can prevent a lot of drownings. And I think that's why we call it a life skill. It's not only for the children, but it's for the direct circle around the children, parents, caregivers, those kind of people, so that they know what to do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are other benefits of swimming besides?
Oh, my word. It's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. The confidence that it builds in children. Children with low muscle tone, it helps with that. Children with asthma, it helps with that because it helps you to control your breathing. So with asthma, they tend to breathe in and out a lot, quicker. And with swimming, you learn to control your breath. Yeah. So, I will never forget, happened to me. I had a young lady that came, she was 12 years old. She was going on a school camp, but she couldn't swim. And she was really very scared. Her mom was scared. She also didn't want her to go away and be with her peers. And I taught her to swim. And it was amazing, the confidence and how she grew in her little personality. Like when she first came, she was very shy and withdrawn. But her mom says her school marks improved. Her circle of friends improved because she was more confident. She had the confidence to make friends. So I think confidence is probably a very big thing when people can swim, when everybody else around you is swimming and you can't.
You can't. Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. And in terms of your school, how many times must a child, maybe whether they're starting or in the middle of the lesson, how many times must they learn how to swim or come for lessons in a week?
So we offer two options. You can come once a week or you could come twice a week. The lessons are the same in duration, so that would be 30 minutes. And it's up to the parent, really. It depends on what your outcome is. It also depends on what other activities the children are doing. The children today are really busy.
They are very busy. Yeah, that's true.
So some children, they just want to swim, so the parents bring them twice. But other children have other activities like chess and choir and soccer and rugby and cricket and netball and athletics. So, it depends. It depends. But we have found that once a week, you can get very good progress. Obviously, consistency is key. Yes. Yes.
And advice for parents who are scared of water and then them being scared is affecting the decision of taking their child to a swim school.
So I think the first thing I would say with parents that are scared is for them just to show the children that they have a willingness to learn and overcome. And I think that if they can do that and if they learn to swim, so we teach adults to swim, as I said previously, but we have a lot of parents who have brought their children and then they can't swim and we've taught them to swim. So, and I think just showing their children that they're also willing to learn and overcome a fear, because as I said previously, you can project that fear onto your child. So I think just that willingness is there. Yeah.
Do you think schools should make swimming compulsory?
I do. I think it's a very necessary skill. It's not everybody wants to swim, but I think if they just make everybody water aware and at least do some sort of safety skills in the pool at school, I think that is very, very necessary for people to be aware. And, not everybody wants to be a runner or a cricketer or a swimmer. So for me, it's not that everybody has to swim and do well and have, lessons per se, but just once again to be aware and be safe and have that very healthy respect for a pool or water as such.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about your instructors. I've met them, lovely women. You told me a beautiful story about one of them. Just tell me more about your instructors.
So I love my instructors. We're like a family. So the one lady, and she'll be very upset if I mention her name.
No problem.
Anyway, I was living in a complex and I went to the laundry and to have my clothes laundered. And I met her there. She did a great job with the ironing and we got chatting. And I asked her one day if she perhaps wanted to work in my house for me, if she wanted to earn extra money. And I said to her, if we get on well and we work well, then I'd be happy to maybe open some doors for her.
Yeah.
Which then did happen. She came to my swim. She became a cleaner. And actually, we then upskilled her and we taught her how to teach. Well, first of all, we taught her how to swim.
Yeah.
And then we taught her how to teach. And now she's one of all my instructors are good, but she's a great instructor. She loves it. She's been doing it for a long time and the children just love her. So, yeah. In fact, all my girls have now become we're all internationally qualified. We've done a course through, so I don't know if you know of scuba diving. There's a group called PADI, and they have a swimming arm called Starfish Aquatics, and we've all been accredited through Starfish Aquatics. So we all now, although we were qualified with the South African Swimming Association, we are now qualified with Starfish Aquatics. So all of us are. So 2 more of my ladies that are instructors at my swim were cleaners. We taught to swim and they showed an interest to teach and they're teaching. So that's what we're about, empowering women. I'm very passionate about that as well. Empowering people to become more, and giving them that opportunity to actually take the initiative and do that for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, coming to adults, for someone like me who, I'm not going to say I'm scared of water, but I haven't really shown interest of wanting to learn how to swim.
Okay.
What advice would you give me to start?
You know what? Don't be scared to start because you'll actually find that you'll love it.
Yeah.
It really is. It's really a very, how can I say, this may sound funny, but for me, it's like a spiritual experience. When you swim and you can be in your head and just keep on swimming and work out. So it could be a form of meditation as well, while you're swimming.
Yeah.
So, all I would say to you is come and try.
Yeah.
See if you like it.
Yeah.
The worst that's going to happen is that you're going to learn to swim, and at least if you go to on holiday or to a resort, you'll be able to get into the pool. That's the worst. You don't have to swim like a champion.
Yeah. But being able to swim in the pool and swim in the ocean, like, what's the difference?
So it's quite a big difference.
Yeah.
So the pool is chlorine, and it's an enclosed space.
Yeah.
The ocean is salt, which makes you a lot more buoyant. So, which is a good thing because it brings you up to the surface, or you're able to control your body closer to the surface.
Okay.
Better than what you could do in a pool.
Okay.
Also, the ocean has currents. It has rocks. It's got places that are deeper than others. So before you go into the ocean, I would suggest that you be confident, unless it's a place like Mauritius where it's a long way that it's shallow and you're just playing in the water, that's fine. Yeah. But I mean, if you had to go to KZN, for instance, or even if you're brave enough to go into the cold waters in Cape Town. I would rather be a confident. I wouldn't just go into the water if I wasn't a confident swimmer. And then I would maybe think about wearing something like a life jacket.
Yeah.
You know, if you weren't confident. I think that's very important.
Yeah. And then safety around that kind of a water, like with the ocean. What are the safety tips? Because people travel all the time. And sometimes they think if they can swim in the pool, they just let their kids, you know, there by the beach and swim. What are the safety tips that you can give us?
So children, when they go to the ocean, they actually sometimes get afraid of the noise of the ocean. So, which is not a bad thing, because they would then, you know, be reluctant to go in. And once again, supervision is key. Don't just let your children, because obviously children want to explore, but you need to watch them and actively watch them, you know. And also, as I said, the ocean has currents, so you're playing in the waves and the waves can take you, you know, and that's why it's important to watch your children. Yeah.
And lastly, advice is key. I always say to people here on the show that because you specialize in what you're talking about, it's better to hear advice from you than from me. What advice do you have for parents in terms of starting their kids to start learning how to swim, and advice that you have for parents who themselves have been thinking about coming to a school or my swim school to come start learning how to swim, but they still have that little bit of fear? Just your last words.
So as far as the children go, I think the earlier you start them, the better. And I think if you have the fear, don't put that fear onto your child. So bring your child even if you're afraid. Let them just take the chance and let them learn. And then I could say the same for the adults as well. Just take the chance and learn, you know. It's a new skill and you might just find that you absolutely love it. So I would just say, when I teach adults, I always say, you must be like Nike. Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. I've seen some of the parents get into the water with their kids.
Yes.
Is that a lesson for both of them, or is just to make the child comfortable?
So those are the lessons we do from 6 months old to about 2.5, 3 years old, depending on the child. And that's where the parents actually work with the child in the water to teach them a little bit of water safety, how to put their faces in the water, how to blow bubbles, how to fall into the pool, what to do with their bodies if they fall in, those kind of safety things. That's what we do with the little ones. Yes.
And animals around the pool? Is it, can all dogs swim? Because I love dogs. Can they all swim or not?
So all dogs can swim, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, obviously some better than others, you know. I also have a dog. You might have seen him at the pool sometimes.
I did,
So he gets very stressed. He'll run with me up and down and he hates the water. But he'll run up and down. But dogs, yes. And animals, there are some animals that just go in. So with an animal, you'd also have to watch, you know, and see if you have an animal at your home. Just keep the gate closed, because there are lots of, I have heard of people where the animals have just drowned, which is unfortunate. Because obviously they can, but what happens is they can't for a prolonged period of time. So,
Thank you so much, Sharon.
Oh, Pasi, it's been a pleasure.
I am going to start. Just do it.
You are just going to do it.
Of water, I won't lie. I'm sure I will scream the day you start teaching me how to swim.
You won't. I promise you. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
It's never too late to learn.
Never too late to learn. And I really look forward to welcoming you in the pool.
Definitely. Yes. I think you guys must just follow my journey. I will make an appointment with Sharon at my swim school and see when I start. And please don't judge me, guys. It's my first time. Now when I go out, Sharon, I just put my feet. Well, I shoot content. Exactly. I don't get inside, and I shoot it with makeup. I don't get inside the water, but I'll try my best.
You're going to get in the pool and shoot it with makeup.
All right. Thank you so much, Sharon.
Thank you, Pasi. I really appreciate the opportunity.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget that you are available on Spotify and Apple.